We've been talking about Jesus and all the wonderful miracles that he performed while he was on earth. Jesus performed miracles while he was on earth because he cared about people and he loved people and he wanted to care for them. And he wanted to glorify God and to point God and to show all the people that Jesus was from God and could only be from God so that they could believe in him and turn back to Jesus. We've been also talking about these miracles that Jesus does in Psalms chapter 40, verse 5, which we've been memorizing. Psalm chapter 40, verse 5 says, "You have multiplied, O Lord my God, your wondrous works and your thoughts toward us. None can compare with you. I will proclaim and tell others." That's what we're memorizing this week. I will proclaim and tell others. And the rest says, I will proclaim and tell of them, yet they are more than can be told. So this week, let's focus on that very first part. You have multiplied, O Lord my God, your wondrous works and your thoughts toward us. None can compare with them. I will proclaim and tell of them. And let's think about that today and compare that to what Jesus has been doing. So the last few weeks, we remember when there was the big storm and Jesus was asleep on the boat and he just told the storm to be quiet. And the storm and the winds obeyed Jesus' voice because they recognized it, because that was the voice that created them in the very beginning. And then Jesus made food to feed over 5,000 people with just 5 little loaves of bread and 2 fishes. But Jesus multiplied it, showing that if we give Jesus what little we have, just like the boy gave Jesus those 5 small pieces of bread and those 2 fish, Jesus can do whatever he wants with them if we'll just surrender what we have to Jesus. Now, after Jesus fed those 5,000 people, it was getting late, and so he dismissed them and he told them to go on home, and at the same time he told the disciples to go ahead of him and go across the Sea of Galilee into Bethsaida. And Jesus, after he dismissed them, he went up to be alone in a mountain and to pray to God. So as Jesus was praying, he prayed to God, and then when he was done praying to God, he saw the disciples. And they'd been rowing a long ways out, but they were not making any progress because there was another big storm and the wind was blowing against them and they were rowing, but they were not getting anywhere. And so Jesus started to walk across to see them and to walk by them. When Jesus was walking by them, the disciples started to see Jesus. And they thought, it's a ghost! And they were terrified because not only was this a big storm, but there was a ghost. Because they knew that nobody could be walking on water unless they were a ghost, unless they were not a human. But then when Jesus heard that, he stopped and he said, "It's okay, don't be afraid, it's only me." And then Peter said, "Well, Jesus, if it is you, command me, tell me to do it, and I'll walk to you." And so Jesus said, "Come to me." And Peter, in the deep, deep Sea of Galilee, in the crazy storm and the crazy winds, stepped out and looked at Jesus. And with Jesus' power, Peter was able to walk on the water and not sink. And Peter was walking to Jesus and keeping his eyes straight on Jesus and going towards his master until the wind started to blow really hard and he got distracted and he looked away and he started to get scared at the wind and the waves. And then as soon as he started to get scared and take his eyes off Jesus, he started to sink. And he said, "Lord, save me," as he was sinking under the water. But Jesus was right there and he grabbed Peter and pulled him up. And they were on the boat. And Jesus asked him, why did you have so little faith? And then Jesus was on the boat and immediately they were at the shore that they had come, that they were setting out to be on. Why do you think that those people, the disciples, were scared when they first saw Jesus? It's because they knew that couldn't be a normal person, that this was something much more than a normal person, so they thought it must be a ghost. But just like that, sometimes when we see Jesus, it can be a little scary because Jesus asks us to do things that we're not comfortable with. This happens a lot of the time. It's because we don't have enough faith in Jesus. Sometimes whenever Jesus tells us to do something, it might seem a little uncomfortable and it'll probably be a little scary. But if we trust in God and we obey Jesus, no matter what's going on around us, just like when Peter stepped out of that boat, there was still a crazy storm going around. But if we obey and keep our eyes on Jesus, no matter what's going on around us, Jesus will secure us. And Jesus will give us peace no matter what we are going through. Because the truth is that Jesus can calm the storm because Jesus is the calm in the storm. Whatever that storm may be, whether it's a hurricane coming through, whether it's something really hard going on in your life, no matter what the storm is, Jesus is always the only calm that can be found in that storm. He was that calm for Peter, and he can be the calm for you. All we have to do is trust Jesus. And whenever it seems too much, and whenever we mess up and we lose sight of it, just like Peter called out to Jesus and said, "Lord, save me." When we realize that there's nothing that we can do, we call out to Jesus to save us. And he is faithful to forgive us and to be there to pick us up and to save us and to secure us. Jesus did these wonderful works then, and he's still doing them today. So let's look back at our memory verse today. Chapter 40, verse 5. You have multiplied, O Lord my God, your wondrous deeds and your thoughts toward us. None can compare with you. I will proclaim and tell of them. That's what we want to have memorized this week. And I have another challenge for you this week. Just like the person in the verse who wrote this verse said, I will proclaim and tell of them. I want you to find somebody. I don't care who it is, if it's your brother, your mom, your dad, your sister, your friend. Find somebody and tell them about something wonderful that Jesus has done for you this week or today, or about one of the wonderful things that he did in one of our Bible stories. And then let's share that this week.